Hey there, friends, fans, and collectors. We got episode 21 of The Mandalorian to talk about. Let's get going.
Commence primary ignition.
Now, this episode opened up catching back on Navarro with the pirate plot that started off this season. We see Gorian Shard's Corsair ship show up above Navarro and hail Greef Karga. They recap their bit of their grudge from the first couple episodes, and Greef says the famous words of, "He shot first." We also get a great reference there to the Spinward Patrol. Now, I don't know if I'm remembering correctly, but I believe that's from the Alphabet Squadron books, but it's a New Republic in one of the novel series books. Nice reference in the age, and we know they're out there, so pretty cool. We also get a nice view of the ship with its cannons out because it starts firing down on the people of Navarro. We then cut to a Delphi base, which is this New Republic air post and air squadron. We have some amazing scenes of Y-Wings landing, X-Wings taking off, and some great cantina bar scenes with the pilots. We also get some great references to other aliens in this cantina. It was a nice nod to legacy and to New Age Star Wars history. I will have to add, there was also some awesome music going into a Delphi base and then at the cantina. It was like psychedelic music, but with alien language. Just really great job in immersing into that scene. I really did feel like a lot of the scenes of this episode could have been just directly taken from the Marshals of the New Republic show that would have featured Mandalorian. So I'll talk about this after, but this scene particularly felt like it was the setup or an intro scene for a completely other show. Another great Easter egg in there is we had a female Snaggletooth. Now, Snaggletooth was one of the aliens that was in the original cantina in A New Hope. We see a long-haired version of one of them manning the bar behind in the cantina for the pilots. Captain Teva receives a comm from Greef Karga requesting assistance from the New Republic, and in a perfect world, of course, he could just hop in squadron. He could scramble a squadron and take off and go help Navarro right now, but in the New Republic era, he has to hop in his X-Wing, fly to Coruscant, request permission to go, and then go. So we see him going to Coruscant. We have a great cameo for his commanding officer, but unfortunately Captain Teva gets stuck in some bureaucratic nonsense. Now, because Navarro hasn't signed the treaty to join the New Republic, they're not allowed to send their navy or any kind of force out there. Commander Teva takes it upon himself to go and ask Mando for some assistance at the Mandalorian covert with the rest of the Mandalorians there. He was able to track Mando there because of R5, who had once served in the rebellion. I did think it was interesting that once Mando was filled in on what was happening, he did have to convince the other Mandalorians to follow him into battle. Now, Mandalorians have to choose to fight, they have to choose to follow a leader, and they have to choose to follow a mission. But I mean, true Mandalorians deep down to their heart really don't need a reason to find a fight. They want to go and keep sharpening their skills and get out there. But we do see him put forward his pitch. I thought it was really interesting that they had the hammer of the armorer seems to be their talking stick. So whoever's holding the hammer really has the power to speak. And that was shown also that when the armorer took it back from him, she offered it, "Does anyone else want to speak?" And we did hear from that Vizsla trash Paz Vizsla. Now, I just have a history with the Vizslas. They are backstabbers and pretty dishonorable people in the Mandalorian backstory and history and legacy, and of course for Legends. But of course he gives this speech, and he really does give a good speech in the end, because it does end with the true Mandalorian spirit of, we shouldn't need a reason to fight. We should just want to fight, and particularly because this dude, Mando, protected our kids, we should be extra down to fight. So, I mean, came out with a good message, but let's not forget that Vizslas in a history have either sided with the Emperor or sided with bad people or stabbed other Mandalorians in the back. So he should have no talk about honor. Nobody with the last name Vizsla should have any say in honor. We got a wonderful amount of action in this episode. We really got to flex some Mandalorian might, from the approach of the gauntlet, from them all coming out of the Korvax fighter. I mean, it was just classic stuff that we've seen in Clone Wars before, in Mandalorian Legacy, but never really in live action. So it was great to see everyone with their multicolored armor, blasting down there, using their wrist rockets, just all around great, great, great action that was specifically Mandalorian against pirate. Really, really fabulously done. These guys get a great breakdown in the cockpit of the action that's going to come. They talk about the dogfight. They make a plan. We get this great little holo map of everyone getting the readout. But once again, just really nicely timed, really good action, both in space and on ground, which is a Star Wars classic. Now, the pirate ship, they finally gave us a name. It was a Cumulus-class Corsair. Say that 3 times fast. And it had a squadron of tiny little fighters on the top of it, which acted as a hangar. Really cool design. Of course, the N1 gets in some great dogfights with these little fighters, and eventually both the Gauntlet and the N1 take on this big pirate ship in space. Now the ship comes down, most people are saved, the townspeople are celebrating, and of course, because the Mandalorians had rescued the people of Navarro, the townspeople now welcome them as part of their town and give them a decent amount of land, actually, on Navarro itself. So it's great the Mandalorians do have a place they can call home as of now, and it's also nice to be greeted as liberators of this place that they once lived. This episode not only ends with the Mandalorians having a home on Navarro, but also with the Armorer having a very interesting talk with Bo. Now in this talk, she convinces Bo-Katan to take off her helmet. Now Bo had been walking the way of the Mandalorian, this specific sect of Mandalorians, ever since she saw the Mythosaur. And there really was something that happened in terms of reigniting her belief in Mandalorian ways. And she had been walking the way of the Mandalore really to honor that and to really just reignite her beliefs. And it was interesting that the Armorer told her to take off her helmet, and even more interesting that she really did hesitate. Now she thought it was a test, she really did trust the way, but the Armorer ends up telling her that since she saw the Mythosaur, it really is a sign that Mandalorians need to come together, unite, and take back Mandalore. Now, the Mythosaur has always been not only a symbol of the Mandalorians, but it's also a symbol of the right to rule, the right to rise, and to come together to reclaim lands that were lost. Also, in Legacy, it was a symbol to conquer other lands, but the Armorer explains to Bo that it is her job, she is the person who's going to unite people. And the Mythosaur showing itself to her having the Darksaber, all of these things are coming together. And I don't even know if the Armorer knows at this point if Bo has the Darksaber, because she's not revealed it, she's not wielding it on her side, she's keeping it pretty much under wraps right now. But the Armorer tells her that it's her job to walk 2 paths between 2 worlds, that being the ones in the cult that wear their helmet and never take it off, and the other Mandalorians out there who exist and who do take their helmets off and live that kind of way, following the Codex or other kinds of Mandalorian ways. Now Bo takes this duty upon herself and walks out amongst her new group without her helmet, and you can see the emotion on her face, and you can see the rest of the Mandalorians look of defeat kind of on her. Luckily, the Armorer comes with her and explains what her role is, explains her purpose, but this really is a powerful moment for Bo, and you can really see the weight of belief on her shoulders, and how heavy this new added weight that the Armorer put on is to her. She does accept it, and her plan is to take off into the galaxy and to try and find more Mandalorians, to bring them back, and to go take on Mandalore. Last bit of this episode was probably the most interesting. Our Republic captain is searching the skies above Mandalore and finds an Imperial transport ship that was used to transport Moff Gideon, with all of the Republic troopers dead inside and Moff Gideon nowhere in sight. Now he comes to the conclusion this is clearly an extraction, and he also finds shards of Beskar, which hinted at something that we knew existed within the Empire, and of course must exist if Imperial remnants exist, and that is Mandalorians who sided with the Empire, Mandalorians who support the Imperials, and we also learned that Moff Gideon is part of them. So this makes a lot of sense for why he came upon the Darksaber, why he had the Darksaber, but it also adds an extra element into the upcoming season because Bo's being sent out there to find every Mandalorian, and we now know that some of those Mandalorians are with Imperial remnants. Bad news. I think the last few episodes have been interesting, they've been really pretty good, but they haven't felt like they've been specifically Mandalorian. They haven't really pushed, and if we're going to be honest, they haven't really pushed that much plot forward. Now we are up to the second to last, if not the last episode of this season. We haven't pushed that much story arc at all forward this season, and there's not that much time left. So more and more what this feels like, even though these episodes are great, is they feel like episodes that were meant for other shows to cameo Mandalorian, that were now stamped Mandalorian episodes. So again, this felt like it very much could be an episode from Marshals of the New Republic, the show that was canceled, that was to feature Mando, that was maybe expanded upon, or just exactly cut and pasted. But we're not getting as much unique Mandalorian stuff. We are getting some dips and dives into some deeper lore, but I mean, we don't have a main villain yet. We've been hinting at Moff Gideon. We haven't seen him yet. This pirate was, I guess, the minor villain, so it was great to see him go down, but this is really, it's great, but it's feeling like it's lacking in certain ways, and it almost feels like it's great for someone and something else. So last bit to say, comment below what you think. I thought it was a fun episode. Great pirate killing, great Mandalorian might, and it's going to be neat to see what's going to be coming in the upcoming weeks. But let me know in the comments below what you think. Thanks for watching another episode of Binary Sunset Review. I hope that you enjoyed the season coming up. Have a great day out there. Stay safe, stay sane, and remember, the Force will be with you, always.
I'm just a simple man trying to make my way in the universe.